Yeah, I was just enjoying. My name is Coca-Cola34. I'm here today to talk about the next episode of Prehistoric Subject Files. Well, we're doing it right now, so yeah. So today we're going to talk about a plesiosaur, whatever it is. We can't actually classify it. It's been in a bit of a classification debate recently in recent times. It's known as Rhomaleosaurus. Now, Rhomaleosaurus was an early Jurassic plesiosaur, currently classified in the Rhomalesaurid. It was from the early Jurassic period, around the Taurasian age, which was about 183 to 175.6 million years ago. Mainly it's been found in New Hampshire and Yorkshire, which is where I'm from, yay, and it was named by Harry Seeley. Seeley, that's it, not Slaley, Seeley in 1874. And he named the first species Rhomaleosaurus cramptoni. It was around 7 meters in length. Now, the first species we're going to talk about is Rhomaleosaurus cramptoni, and that was found in 1848 in the month of July. They were found in a place called the Alum Quarry at Kettleness, near Whitby. And at first they were just treated as plesiosaur remains, just general plesiosaur remains. They dated around the early Taurasian era, so it was about 183 to 180 million years ago. It's represented by a complete specimen, which is designated as NMING F8785. It was kept in Mulgrave Castle, but then in 1858 the specimen was introduced to Sir Philip Crampton. Wonder why he's important. And the fossil was then transferred to Dublin, and then later on was actually transferred to the Royal Dublin Society Museum. Then it was described by Alexandra Cart and W.H. Bailey as a Plesiosaurus cramptoni specimen. Basically, they named the species there and then when they found it, so they thought it was originally a species of Plesiosaurus. Then in 1874, Harry G. Seeley actually established Rhomaleosaurus from this specimen, and not only that, he established the family of Rhomaleosauridae. But it wasn't until 2006 that the specimen was actually completely and finally prepared and shown all its glory. So it took quite a long time for them to actually prepare the specimen, which is astonishing in my mind, because you consider the age of the animal when you consider when it was found. It's nearly 200 years ago, which is just incredible. It's incredibly, that long, that far away in time, and it's just taken them so long, and it's just really, really strange why they didn't get on with it in the first place. Now, the next species, I couldn't find much material on it, apart from a few ankle bones, but then again, yeah, not much to talk about. It's just small little bones. But the next species is Rhomaleosaurus propinquus, and the holotype specimen is designated as WM852.S, and it's an articulated, almost complete skeleton and skull. It was collected from the Whitby Mudstone Fossil Formation, and that's located in Yorkshire, in England, and it dates from the Middle Taurasian stage, around 180 to 177 million years ago, and it was first named Plesiosaurus propinquus, and that was because later on it would go on to be called Rhomaleosaurus propinquus. And it was named that in 1876 by Blake and Tate. Then it was redescribed in 1910 by Watson as Rhomaleosaurus propinquus. It's really hard to say because it sounds like pingu. Then in 2007, Smith actually suggested that Rhomaleosaurus propinquus was actually a synonym to Rhomaleosaurus zetlandicus, but then in 2008, Smith and Dyke, and another Smith, by the way, I should clarify that, considered it to be its own valid species. Up next is Rhomaleosaurus thorntoni, and this is designated with the holotype specimen known as BMNHR4853, which is a partially complete skeleton with skull and mandibles present. It was collected from Kingsthorpe in Nottinghamshire, and is from the Taurasian stage, and there's no exact date on it exactly, but from what we know, it's the best well-known British Taurasian Rhomaleosaurid that has been discovered away from the Yorkshire coast. So the remainder of the other species were found in Yorkshire, the Yorkshire coast, which shows that maybe this one was adventurous. This species was particularly adventurous, and then the population evolved into this new species. But it was named in 1922 by a guy called Andrews, and then was revised by Cruikshank in 1996 as a synonym of Rhomaleosaurus cramptoni, along with Rhomaleosaurus zetlandicus. But then it was revalidated from 2007 to 2008 by Smith and Dyke, and yeah, now it's its own valid species again, obviously, from why I'm telling you this. Up next is Rhomaleosaurus zetlandicus, and is represented by the holotype that you see on screen here, which is known as YORYMJG, not J, stupid J, G503, and is represented by a nearly complete vertebrate column with skull and some limb bone parts. It was collected from Whitby Mudstone Formation in Yorkshire and dates to the Taurasian stage again, so mainly Rhomaleosaurus is found in the Taurasian stage. It was named by Phillips in 1854, and the specimen was described by Taylor in 1992. It was revised by Cruikshank again as a synonym to Rhomaleosaurus cramptoni, but was again like Rhomaleosaurus thorntoni. It was actually revised and revalidated as its own species by Smith and Dyke. So yeah, apparently this guy called Cruikshank thought that these guys were actually just variants of a single species that just basically varied between each other. But obviously with the right look at the specimens, these guys were actually found to be their own species each. It just shows how diverse this particular genus was, even in a small area of Yorkshire. I mean, you look at Yorkshire on the global map, it's very small, but clearly this particular genus of plesiosaur actually just dominated and diversified while it was around. You know, it's incredible to see that this animal has, you know, been able to pump out so many species over what is considered a short geological time. Okay, so we're going to get into the reassigned species, and this species is known as, well, was known as Rhomaleosaurus macrocephalus, but was then changed into Euclidus, and then later on was actually placed into Atichondrachon, which is a weird word, and those, I think that was because Atichondrachon was actually found to be more basile than the Rhomaleosaurids, so then it was like placed on its own in a special branch, pardon me. So basically that's why it's separate to Rhomaleosaurus completely. Then there was Rhomaleosaurus victor, was actually reassigned to the genus of Meirosaurus, and these I believe were actually just new genera that were actually copped up because they actually found, hang on a sec, this is something distinct that we've actually never seen before, so guess what, we're going to give it its own genus. So it shows that sometimes we get a bit too cocky with these with these namings, so, but then again, with Rhomaleosaurus, there hasn't been too many, which is a good sign. So it shows that even though this genus was pretty diverse in its genetics and definitely diverse in its species, it shows that we were kind of careful with what we actually did and didn't do with the genus as a whole. Now we're going to get into some interesting history about this creature called Thaumatrosaurus, and it was described by paleontologist Christian Erich Hermann von Meyer, and it was described back in 1841, and it was described as Thaumatrosaurus olificus, and it was based on a partial skull with vertebrae and limb remains, and it was found in the Posidii shale of Hotzmaden in Baden, I can't pronounce this, I'm going to butcher this, Württemberg, Germany. So it's not far from Rhomaleosaurus as a whole, but I'm going to get into that. In 1856, Meyer actually published a full description of Thaumatrosaurus and later provided figures of the specimen. Then in 1889, Leidecker actually regarded Rhomaleosaurus as a synonym to Thaumatrosaurus, but then Seeley refused Leidecker and then referred Thaumatrosaurus to Rhomaleosaurus. Then in 1910, Fraze changed Rhomaleosaurus victor to Thalamatosaurus victor, but then later on Thalamatosaurus is now considered a Nuendubian, and specimens that have been assigned to that genus are now considered all to be just various Rhomaleosaurids. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video on Rhomaleosaurus. I hope you enjoyed the history, and I hope you enjoyed the talk about the actual species and the reassignments and the crazy history about this animal. There's not much to go on it, but at the same time it's really interesting to see how this genus became so diverse in such a small area of Yorkshire. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you later. Bye bye.